So go watch it. We're going to link the post. No, we're going to post the link.
We're gonna do it
All right.
somehow.
So
What we're gonna do the thing.
Just gonna tell you,
we're gonna
show
do the
up.
thing. Yeah, I have the
and the
pooper this week.
mitigation.
You don't have to worry, Tap. It's all me now.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Sit down around the hearth, grab a frosty mug of ale. Welcome to the Lions Pride Tavern, where we discuss all things Azeroth. Hey everybody, welcome to Lions Pride Tavern podcast number 54. Tonight we dance with the Maiden of Vigilance. And we find out how we did in this last weekend's raid. But before all that, let's start off with introductions. I'm your host, Fafford. I play a Dwarven Beastmaster Hunter in the awesome game World of Warcraft. Next up is AskJobui.
Hi, I'm AskJobui. I play a Worgen Frost Mage.
And Lorelei.
Hi, it's Lorelei, Night Elf Fury Warrior.
Epistle is MIA. We're not quite sure where he's at. Last we know he was up in the mountains. Maybe he's wrestling a grizzly bear. I hope not.
Send a Mountie after him.
Yeah, send a Mountie. And we have Tapachino tonight.
Hey, it's Tapachino, your Night Elf Restoration Druid. I don't know, maybe Epistle pulled a tap on us tonight.
Yeah, so you want to explain what happened last podcast?
Not really, but I will. Everybody owes it as an explanation. I went to lay down for a few minutes, and wouldn't you know, I didn't get up until the next day. Oops.
It's a heck of a nap.
Yeah.
It was a heck of a nap, and oh my gosh, I was wide awake all day, I can tell you that.
So what did you do that was so exhausting? Did you ride your bike?
That, and you know what? I think I just didn't sleep well, and got up too early, and just, yeah, all the above.
Well, that's
Cleaned, and yeah, real life, you know.
I think it should be a law that the older you get, the more naps you get.
Yeah, for sure.
really
The
do.
ones that don't last overnight, though, would be nice.
I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
law, but I've certainly been exercising that.
Oh, naps are nice.
Well, you have a little one that, somebody has to nap with it.
Right. Yeah. And,
Might as
that's
well be you.
Yeah, I mean, she's tired, and I'm like, hey, let's just grab a blanket and cuddle up on the couch, and we can just take a little nap, for your benefit.
Yeah, just for you. Doesn't have anything to do with me. Not at all.
Right. It's
Yeah.
purely unselfish.
Yeah, I miss those days. All
I
right,
have a hard
so
time imagining you cuddling up with Durag to take a nap
no,
on the couch.
well, I did when he was little.
Well, I mean now. That
Yeah,
is
not
all.
now. No, he's 20 years old. That'd be a little creepy.
Yeah, a little. No, a lot.
It's bad enough when we have to sleep in the same tent together. Well, how did we do in this weekend's raid, AskJobui? Why don't you cap us off?
It was a pretty interesting weekend. It was a little piecemeal. We had some players missing some nights and some players missing the second night. We had to fill in tanks. In fact, we had both of the tanks on the second night were filling. Donna Bell had come in to tank, and then her significant other tanked along with her.
Chugal tanked, huh?
Yeah, Chugal tanked with her, which was pretty nice. She wanted to do that, I think, so that she could just yell at him from across the room.
And I'm sure there were times
Oh,
she
man,
did
that was-
yell at
Yeah.
him.
Exactly.
So she could just yell taunt, and things like that. But on Friday night, we decided to skip ahead again and go after Kill Jaden again. So we killed Goroth, and then we went through Maiden and Fallen Avatar, and then went after Kill Jaden. And it took a little bit of effort, but we managed to do it. We took down Kill Jaden,
Yay.
Yay!
which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we came back on Saturday, and we decided we would I took a look at the makeup of the group, and the item level was pretty high, so I wanted to see how we would do. So we started off on heroic. And we gave it a couple of tries, but it really wasn't. It didn't seem like it was going to go. So we switched it back to normal. We had a couple of players who hadn't done any of the fights in normal, so we used their lockout and we killed Goroth again, and we went all the way through to Desolate Host and
Oh, very
ended up
cool. On normal.
on normal, yeah. And then that's where we finished off. Well, actually, we finished off on the World Quest boss that was located in there. But we went Desolate Host and the World Quest boss. We tracked that down and got everybody some artifact power, and then called it a night.
A lot of fun.
Very cool. So let's talk a little bit about the Kill Jaden fight, because we only had what about 16 people, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roughly
so
that.
It was a smaller group, but we had more of the heavy hitters that showed up. And I
Mostly,
think,
at least, yeah.
Yep. And I think what really helped, and you guys can weigh in here, we were having all sorts of issues getting up to the second intermission, the dark phase, and it seemed to go a little smoother. We did have a couple of people that hadn't been to the fight in a long time or only made it to a certain part and had never seen anything past that. But once we got them through that and talked them through it, I thought it went pretty well. But is there anything that you guys think we could have done better, JoBui?
Well, I mean, there's always going to be, the opportunity to be cleaner on the mechanics. I mean, unless we're just doing it absolutely perfectly, being clean on the mechanics is pretty much essential for making it go smoother. Things like something that still needs work is the bursting dread flame, which is a large circle that appears around the players. I mean, it's a very large circle, and players need to be spread out and get away from each other and not have those stacked on top of each other, so they're not stacking up the damage from it. And we still occasionally get those, where people aren't moving out from the middle or they're stacking up on top of each other, and that sort of thing. I think that would help quite a bit. The other thing that I think would help is just more practice on dealing with Kill Jaden's giant spell that he casts, Doom of 1,000 Suns or something like that. I can't think of the exact name at the top of my head.
That was the one at the end there with the big circle you
Yeah.
have to step in and out of. Yeah, that one's
Mhm.
tough.
Yeah, I think just getting practice with dealing with that particular spell, because you have to step over the line into the corners. There's like it's a big circular area in one of the corners, and you have to step over the line, and it's constantly trying to push you over the line. It's got like a really mild blowback, and then you have to step inside just as the cast is going off, and then you step back out and you try and get out immediately afterwards. And I noticed there was quite a few people that were either stepping in a second too late, or they were going in really far and taking in more damage than they should be by being inside the circle for too long. And I think that just cleaning up that mechanic and dealing with that mechanic would help quite a bit.
So let's talk a little bit about that mechanic, because that one, I'm interested to hear what everybody has to say about it, just because you do get the blowback. So, like mages, for instance, was JoBui,
Right.
a lot of your spells are not on the move type casting. Now I play Hunter, so mine, everything I shoot, I can shoot on the move. So healers, I mean, wow, you got a lot of spells too that you can't move. Now you can stand still, cast your spells, and then run forward again. But what a lot of time involved there. So,
Yeah.
do you do anything different, JoBui? Do you go
Sure.
out further? Okay, go ahead and explain.
I take about I try and like I know that the spell is coming, and I watch the timers, right? And the timers are going to tell me about when it's coming. And it's called the Darkness of 1,000 Souls. That's what the name of it, the spell is. And then the area that you have to go into is the Tear Rift, or the rift, I guess we could just call it. And so basically, like, there's that edge of the rift, and I know it's going to push me back, so I'll just go out like 10 or so yards, like basically wherever the boss is being tanked at. I'll kind of go out to about that distance out, and then I'll just let it slowly push me towards that rift while I'm casting spells, and then I'll take a brief moment, and I'll cast something like an Ice Lance or something like that, or a Brain Freeze that I might have saved up as I approach the rift, as I run up again, and then I just let it push me back while I continue to cast. But when it gets close to the spell going off, then I just hang out near the edge of that rift, and I just say forget it, because there's nothing I can do. I'll just sit there and fire off Ice Lances whether I have a proc for it or not. And I know my DPS will suffer as a result, but I'd rather do the mechanic right, live, and make it through the next part of the fight so that I can continue damaging the boss heavier after that spell goes off.
All right. Yeah, interesting. So, Lorelei, you got 2 questions there. What do you think, and what do you do?
Well, I'll do what I do. I do what I can to try to DPS the boss so I can use Whirlwind, but I'm also trying to avoid getting sucked into the rift while I'm trying to hit things. So I can't really use any of my single attacks. So I just try to spin around as best I can while trying to avoid being in the front. And one thing that I was thinking of, which might help, is if the boss was tanked a little bit farther away. I know it's still trying to pull us in, but if it's farther away, then we're not getting pulled in, because melee's got to be sitting right on top of the boss pretty much, and it's very easy to get sucked in if you're not paying attention. But then when it comes time for the cast, as soon as he starts casting, then everybody can just sort of slide over to the rift and then take that step in when they need and take the step out. So I'm wondering if it's just going to be a positioning thing, just, help everybody out a little bit, because sometimes we get really close to the edge, and I'm not sure if the boss is still doing fell claws while he's in that phase, because we get hit really bad with that if the boss suddenly turns, or if you get blown in front of him by mistake.
Yeah, I wish Epistle was here.
Yeah.
To
He
answer
does
that
do
question.
fell claws during
He
that
does.
stage.
Yeah. So that's why they're.
So we've got 2 things we're worrying about. We're getting sucked in and being in front of the boss by mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, because for the range, it's really easy. I can just step off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
But we still have to deal with, by the way, the focused dread flame and the bursting dread flame and the obelisks during the time that we're getting sucked into that rift. So,
right.
I mean, there's a lot going on there. It's
Yeah.
not just us standing around, waiting to get pushed into the rift. We're handling other mechanics at the same time. So there can be other things that we have to deal with. Like, I get bursting dread flame, I have to go way off to the side, or we have a focused dread flame, everybody's got to like stack up, or whatever, or
Or the obelisks.
Yeah, ticket used to, for sure.
That'd be nice if they just give you a zone off to the side where you could go run with the dread flame and you don't get pulled in at the same time.
Yeah.
Just
and
a
the
little
obelisks,
corner, it would be fine.
The obelisks can be really tricky too, because you may not see all of them. You can look around real quick and try and mentally figure out where they all are this time, right? But you might miss one that's like behind your camera that you don't notice. We were marking me and trying to get people to like gather up where my marker was. I was trying to assess where to stand to dodge the obelisks, but even that.
If everybody's stacking on JobUI, he's got to be in the right spot. Otherwise, now it's all his fault because he's got us all stacked in the wrong spot. So
yeah, I did get us hit once.
Easy.
I did get us hit once, but the rest of the time it was clear.
Yeah, I mean you did
but
really well.
We survived it.
Yeah, I mean you did really well, but I mean I thought I was way off, and I only saw, I was looking at the one obelisk going, all right, I'm a 45-degree angle from it, I'm good. But then one across the room hit me. and
Yeah.
killed me. So
Yeah, it's.
yeah,
I mean, because it's a wide beam too.
yeah,
It's not like a small beam where if you're directly in line with the obelisk. No, if you're within like maybe 10 meters, you know, of where the line's origination, or 5 meters on either side of where the line is going to be, you're probably going to get hit by that thing. So you have to like really be like far outside of its path to avoid it. It's not a super easy thing to do, especially when you don't notice one on the far side of the room or behind your camera.
Or
yeah.
when you're looking at everybody's health and trying to keep people up and
Or
not die
DPSing the
and
boss, or bursting
yeah.
dread flames, or focus dread flames, or
Yep.
tears and rifts, and
Not trying
watching
to get into
Yeah.
timers.
the circle before it's time and
Now the dread flames that happen before we go into that last phase. Well, I can't even talk tonight. One thing I noticed that I think we could maybe fix that problem is I've noticed people when they get it, they're trying to run across the room from the opposite of where they are. And instead of just turn around and run backwards, they drag it through the whole group and it goes
Well,
off before they can get to the edge. And I think it's just a moment of panic when you're going, oh my God, I have it. What do? I got to go drop it. Well, just turn around and run backwards.
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that too, but what I mainly saw was 3 people heading in the same direction, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, well,
Well,
I'll run
now,
back the other way.
yeah, and people, I think what people are confused about is it's okay to overlap those. You only have to be like 8 yards or something. There's a yard you have to be away from the center. So it's okay for 3 people to go out there and just spread themselves out and overlap. You won't get hurt. It's just if there's just a plain person out there who's stuck in between the two, then they're going to get hit with both of them.
Right.
And I think that's where people may be confused.
Yeah, and there's another thing too, of course, because this fight has so many little spots that are pretty hard to like
yeah.
to get exactly right. But the other one that I think that could help a lot of players is when the singularities come and they come in the corners. I've noticed a lot of players, they'll go towards the middle, which is good because if you're in the middle, and they're spawning in the corners of the platform, it'll blow you out towards one of the corners. You're not going to get blown off the platform if you're in the middle. But sometimes we'll get an Armageddon going on sometime around that time, and when those are going to happen at the same time, you really want to run towards the singularity, so that the singularity, when it goes off, it blows you back to the middle. That way, you are close enough to get into the swirlies that are on the ground after they spawn, after you get knocked back. Because if everybody's in the middle and they get knocked back towards one corner, well, there's going to be swirlies all the way on the other side, and even if you've got boosts, speed boosting, blinks, whatever, you probably aren't going to get there in time. So if you run towards the singularity, get pushed in towards the middle, you'll have a lot better chance of getting to those Armageddons that spawn out towards the edges.
I think we've been really lucking out with those, like you said, with people in the middle, that we've just been lucking out that we haven't had that issue too much. But that won't last long, I'm sure.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, it's for the most part, everybody's really good about calling it out if they can't make it. Like, and the big one's the biggest concern, because the big one, if it gets missed, we're done. But I've seen that happen several times where one guy's like, I'm not going to make it, and then somebody else will go jump in the big one. So, because, I mean, anybody with any type of a cooldown, personal cooldown, damage reduction cooldown can take it. We have an assigned team, and then we rotate through that team, but there are some people like the shamans that have, or not shamans. Who was it? That was a druid, but he wasn't sure if that worked though.
There's times when it gets more important too, that even the small ones get got. I mean, that's always important, but it gets even more important, especially as we're getting ready to transition from phase 2 into the second intermission. We can't have any of those Armageddons missed at that point, because then everybody in the raid will get that that massive damage debuff on them just as we transition to a phase where they can't be healed right away. So that can wipe the whole raid if one gets missed right before we go into the second intermission.
Yep, very true. All right, so Tapachino, same thing to you from a healing aspect. What do you think we could do better in that phase? And then how do you handle the pushback?
That wasn't the question everybody else had. What can we do better?
Yes, it was.
Well, obviously, what we can do better is, do the mechanics right. Try to keep an eye on all the stuff that's going on. From a healing aspect, we're concentrating so much on healing everybody up and not stepping into the circle and staying out of the, what do you call those? The beams there.
Oh,
The focus dread
focused.
flame.
Yeah,
Do you get, as healers, do you get the focus dread flames where you have to run out with the circles? Do you get those a lot?
no, I mean, I've gotten them, but I haven't gotten them a lot, maybe, once or twice, but they don't seem to focus on us, or at least on me, that much. And so I think we've been pretty lucky with that. I've seen them earlier in the phase. I haven't seen them at that last phase where he's got that circle coming out. I haven't ever gotten it there. Mostly what happens in that phase is, where, how we're sliding towards that circle there. That's actually an advantage in a way where, because we're sliding, we're not technically running, so I can still use all of my heals. So I can still use, heals, hots, whatever, without technically actually running. And just get close to the circle, then I can run forward some and let it slide me back and do some heals. Having the call out about when to step, when it's getting close, and when to go in and to come out is very helpful because of, all the stuff that, we're watching, and we're trying to keep people alive and stuff. So, that's very helpful. But I think that as far as getting sucked in, it's not as big of an issue for me anyways, where we can just slide and heal, or run away and heal.
Well, that's what
like
I mean. The runaway part is, you have to get far enough out to then stand still to start casting again. So that's a big time waster. Where with a hunter like me, as I'm running forward, I can still DPS.
Yeah, I mean, it can make a difference, but I think with our heal team, we seem to be able to keep it up. Keep people up and keep people healed.
Okay.
But
Right.
yeah, that's a good point though, because you are losing some time. But truthfully, what I wish is I wish we could use roots on everybody so we weren't sliding into the circle.
Oh, that would be
You know?
nice.
Wouldn't
Oh,
that
that'd
be?
be cool.
Yeah, right. I could throw down my ice flow thing there, and
Yeah.
everybody kind of slows down. Yeah, if it only worked on us.
I know, right? Just
Yeah,
for at least that fight.
Throw a hunter trap down. You make it.
Yeah.
So, I think we're doing really well because we've got the very first part up until that second intermission. We got it down. Very few people die. We did have one that, he hadn't been there in a while and he'd only done Kill Jaden a couple of times. So, once we lined him out, he was fine. And I think it's just that second, the end phases that people really need to work on. And we're getting there because we're getting more and more practice. Is that the way you guys
Yeah.
feel too?
Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah, definitely takes practice.
And I think another thing that really helped, and I'll give a shout out to our hunters. I don't know which of the hunters was doing it, but when we were getting to that second phase, they were finding Kill Jaden and marking him on the map extremely quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That made it a lot easier to get to him and to survive in that section.
A few of us had, I think 4 of us, and I didn't get in on the last one, but the time before, 4 of us, we just text each other and message each other and said, I'm going to take star, I'm going to take, because we put the markers in the corners, and then we run to those corners right before it happens so that we kind of get full coverage. and then you just kind of wait for the mini map to start pinging, saying somebody I found it, because yelling out he's over here does
Yeah.
nobody
Right,
any
that's
good.
like, yeah, where?
And
Here.
and I think it also helped too. I mean, I covered a little bit more of the description of what to do when we get to that part before we went into the fight. So I think, I saw more players like heading towards the middle that don't have the ability to find it in the corners right away, and getting to the middle and then looking around to see, okay, where's it going to be? And I talked about zooming in your map so you can really see where it's at as it's transitioning, and players were getting to Illidan really, really fast.
Yes, I think that really helped,
Yeah, that made a big difference.
because I think we were getting to that point and people were lost. That you have to step in the green goo under him in order to get the sight and the buff. Because I think people were just running over by there and then starting to take out the blue guys. But yeah, I think it really helped because they were going down a lot quicker.
Oh yeah.
And we were transitioning into the first phase really quickly, because we'd do it right before the Armageddon would come up. Where before we'd have that extra Armageddon, then we'd transition. So the DPS is getting better too.
Yeah.
All right. So any other comments about Kill Jaden and our kill on Kill Jaden? Anybody got anything they want to share?
Nope. Just it was fun getting him down again.
Yep, it
Yeah,
sure
right?
was.
I have to say I am a little worried for the nights when we have 30 players on the Kill Jaden fight, just because we're going to get more Armageddons, we're going to get more of everything, and it's just I kind of dread that large group again in that fight.
Yeah,
I
we
do
do seem
too.
more successful.
Yeah,
with
but
the
hopefully
small
most
group.
everybody by then that's done it in the smaller groups will have that all down. Because I think most people in the small groups, they have all of the first two phases down really well.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I totally feel you there. I mean, I know that they're getting the practice as some people are getting through it in the smaller groups, but we still have yet to get them down when we have a larger group. And
Well, it's a bigger herd of cats.
yeah, there are definitely more opportunities for things to go wrong when there are more players in that fight.
Yeah. But I think we can do it because we're one of those groups that we really roll with it. So we've got some great raid assist leaders, I want to call them. And we should give shout outs to them because they do a lot of the call outs, which, as you know, is not always easy to do when you're trying to DPS, trying to see what's going on. And then you got to call out, Armageddon in 3 seconds, so everybody understands. Get ready. We got to go out and search for them. Because if you don't say it, all of a sudden it pops up. It's like everybody's standing there going, oh, it's an Armageddon. We better go get
Right.
those. There's a delay. But when you can call it out a little earlier, yeah, definitely a lot better.
It's nice that various players have stepped up to take on some of the responsibility of handling some of the things like calling out who's got to handle the next large Armageddon and keeping track of who's assigned to which ones and stuff. Because that's just, there comes a point when when we're trying to raid lead this stuff and we're trying to do the strategies for it, where there gets to be so much on the plate that it's hard to do the things that we're even there to do, like DPS or whatever, because we're so busy staring at timers and trying to call things out and watching mechanics and stuff, and makes it difficult to do the fun part, the pew pew pew.
Exactly. And a lot of people, and maybe it's just, the type of raid group they came from, they're always apologizing. Oh, I didn't mean to overstep my bounds. I'm like, no, you're fine. Now, if you're constantly, yammering or telling people they're doing it wrong, that's a different story. But these guys are actually, they'll call it out. They'll say, okay, Fafford, you've got the next large Armageddon. That's all it takes. So, no, it really helps.
Yep.
And like I said, I want to thank each of our raid assist leaders for helping with that, because it definitely helps. And we, if it was an issue, I guarantee you I'll be whispering you saying, please shut the hell up. But I've never had to do it because it's a good team. I really do think that it's a really good team. So
Definitely.
I mean, we got awesome healers, we got awesome DPS, we got a couple awesome tanks. Now, for our viewers, we didn't have our normal tank team. Epistle was he was up in the mountains of Canada somewhere, so we had Donabelle. She's kind of our off tank, which she does really well at, and then Durag was tanking, which he's our normal tank. But then Saturday, Durag wasn't there and Epistle wasn't there.
So we didn't have either of our normal tanks on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Donna did fill in for quite a while, and
Yep.
I mean, she was on point for us, as a secondary tank for quite a while in Tomb. So I mean, she's definitely familiar. But I mean, Chugal had never tanked it before, so
Right.
That was. But we still did very well,
Yeah.
He hit a trap or two, but
Yeah.
I learned quick when you do that.
There was a lot of emergency reses going out to Chugal over the course
Yeah.
of the raid, but that's
Hey, our
that's
seasons-
understandable. I mean, that's gonna happen when you've never tanked it before.
Yeah.
And our season tanks have hit those before too.
No way.
Just a little.
Yeah, Durag's oopses
Yeah.
are plentiful.
Yeah, what did I say? There's two things you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear your Dennis say oops, and you don't want to hear your main tank say oops.
Yeah.
Neither one of those are a good thing. I had a Dennis say oops once. I was like, what? And I'm thinking, all these things go off in your head like, oh my God, is he drilling the wrong tooth?
You
Does he
don't
not
get
know
to
what
say
Ooh.
oops. There is no
No saying
oops for
oops.
you.
Let's go on to dancing with the bosses. This is something we came up with where we talk about one specific boss, and from each perspective, range DPS, melee DPS, healing, unfortunately no tanks tonight, they explain what they do specifically for this boss, and we're going to start off with JoBui with range DPS, Maiden of Vigilance.
Okay. First thing is I make sure that I'm at the beginning of the fight. I start with my opener on the boss, and then I watch to see what I am going to get when the boss decides whether or not I am supposed to be on the fell side or the light side. I believe that is called Unstable Soul. Is that? No, that's not the right one. What's the name of the?
Infusion.
Yeah, Infusion.
Oh yes.
Right. And so Infusion goes off, and I have to get on either fell or light side. Now we have markers set up in place. I've written weak auras to help with that. DBM tells you as well. So there's lots of indicators for that. But that's my first priority. Get on the right side that I need to be on, and stay there until the infusion either changes or I have to switch sides of the battlefield area. So I just sit there and I just DPS the boss stacked up with other players so I can absorb the boss's big attacks, because there's one for the light side and there's one for the fell side. I believe it's one's like a hammers of some kind, is what those are called. But I hang out there, and then the boss will teleport. DPS and the boss teleports to the other side of the room, and then I have to go across my side of the platform. So if I'm on the light side, I stay on the light side of the platform. If I'm on the fell side, I stay on the fell side of the platform, and I transition from where we are to the opposite side of the big circular platform. And about that time, there will be these balls that are being generated that are either light or they are fell. And I make sure that I only touch or collect the balls that are of the same color that I am currently infused with. So if I'm light, I only grab the light balls. If I'm fell, I only grab the fell balls. If I'm at all uncomfortable or I'm busy DPSing or anything like that, I make sure I stay on the little dividers between the pathways so that I don't touch either of the balls. And then I just DPS the boss. And essentially, the only other thing I have to do is occasionally I may get a bomb on me, which I think that's actually the unstable soul. And so that is it's a timer. It's a, I believe, 8-second timer from the time the bomb gets on me that I have to jump into the middle and then make sure my back is pointed towards the side that I'm supposed to be on, either the fell or the light, respectively. And then after 8 seconds, it blows up and it shoots me back up onto the platform on either side. A lot of times I'll wait until it's about 3 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds before that goes off, before I'll jump in. But you can jump in earlier on normal. And that's it. I just keep DPSing the boss and keep making sure I'm on the correct side of the fell or the light side.
Yeah, because after you do those simple mechanics, it's just a rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
The big thing is it's totally random on who it picks to switch sides and who it doesn't. So everybody, and this is the start of what I've talked about this in the past, and so have the rest of us. This is the last 3 bosses of the raid. These are the 3 bosses that it makes everybody pay attention to the mechanics, because it only takes one person to be on the wrong side or to hit the wrong color ball and give bombs to everybody, because everybody's running in a group. Because the whole point of grabbing those little balls off to the side is to give a 10% boost to DPS. So you want to hit 10 of them on the way there to get a 100% boost. But we've had people in the past, and JobUi brought that up, if you don't feel comfortable, don't go for them. Because all it takes is one person grabbing the wrong ball, and that whole side gets a bomb, and that whole side has to jump in the middle. And that's where we lose it, because now we got one whole side that's gone, not DPSing, not there to absorb damage for the tanks. And that happens if you're on the wrong side. If you're on the fell side and you're light, you'll send the whole light side into the hole. So this is the start of those last 3 bosses where the mechanics are very, very important to everyone, not just your mechanics people. So,
Yeah.
Lorelei, from a melee perspective, you got much difference? Because I know we stack up, so it's really not a lot of difference.
There really isn't, because everybody's got to be up there by the boss, and I just make sure that I'm paying attention to what side I'm on. I've noticed, and I think it might be my DBM that's doing it, or I'm not sure. I get now like a little cartoon bubble above my head, and it will have 3 of the symbols that we're using for the fell and the light. So we use the triangle. So if I have fell the first time out, I'll get 3 triangles above everybody's head. So I can tell, and I also put on my DBM runaway little girl just to make me look up and make sure I see that. And that's helped a lot. I don't mess up as much anymore, but yeah, it's just we have to stay up in the front, make sure that you're getting in there and stacking for the hammer when it comes down on your side. And then I just stay on the track and just run around and get to the boss as soon as I can. I think it's kind of an easy fight for DPS, actually. I once you get running back and forth down, there really isn't. It's just a tank and spank.
Yeah, and I don't know too much about what the tanks do, but it's definitely, once you learn just those simple little mechanics, it goes really quick, but it can give you
It's just
the
that
biggest
one
heartache.
step wrong. Yep.
Yeah.
Just one step in the wrong direction, and that's it.
If one person with a bomb doesn't jump in the hole, massive damage for everyone.
I know one thing that tanks have to do is those hammers, is they have to taunt back and forth, so that, because they want to share that damage with the players that are stacked on their side. So one of the tanks will be light and one of the tanks will be fell. And the tank that is fell, when it's going to do the fell hammer attack, that tank has to taunt the boss, and the boss will turn towards the tank, who then has to point. He wants to point the boss towards the fell group, because they can take it. Now, if the light side person taunted the boss and pointed it towards the light side people, and he's going to do the boss is going to do the fell attack, it'll make everybody on that side get the bomb. Just like if a person of the wrong color got on that side. So the tanks have to make sure they're taunting correctly based on what the attack is coming next from the boss. I know that much.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there again, everybody has to do their part.
Right.
Because the slightest little slip up and it's done. So, and then there's always 3 people that get the bomb regardless. Now, I don't know about you guys, but Jobui's talking about, some of the add-ons that he's made. Well, it's actually not an add-on, it's Weak Aura. And this one that he made for this particular fight is fantastic. Because if you don't have to change sides, you don't get any sounds. But if you have to change sides, there's like an air horn that will shake your boots. And you're going, what? What do I got to do? And it makes you look, and he's got a big words down below, go to the light side, it's awesome. So if any of our listeners want that, go to our Facebook page. I'll have Jobui post it after we're getting done here. But we'll put it on the Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Lions Pride Tavern. Go there. It'll be in the comments. Once he puts it in there, I'll go ahead and tag it to stay on top. If you want that and it's for weak auras, by all means use it because it's fantastic. And if you like it, tell your entire raid team to get it because it definitely helps. I'm going to say, Tapachino, is that correct? Did it help you when he did it?
Absolutely, it sure did.
Yeah.
Now I was able to kind of keep for myself, which side I'm supposed to be on and stuff, but having his weak aura, so you can say, oh, I don't need that, I can track it myself. But having those visual and audio signals just takes all the guesswork out of it. So you don't have to worry about watching which side you're supposed to be on because it will tell you that. So even if you don't think that you need it, get it because it's very, very helpful.
And I might have stated that wrong, Jobui. Is the air horn for the switching sides or is that for the bombs?
That is for the that's for the bomb when the air horn goes off. When it switches sides, it actually rings a bell 3 times like the beginning of a boxing match. It goes ding ding ding.
Yeah, ding ding. Yep.
Yeah, but it doesn't do that if you don't have to switch sides.
Yeah, I don't think it does. It might.
I only
don't
get it when
notice
I
it.
have to switch.
Yeah, I see it when I just check it because every time I've just gotten in the habit. Every time I just check it anyway, so I'm not even sure if it does it. It's designed basically to go off when you get the debuff on you, and so if you still have the same debuff, it probably isn't going to go off. It's just going to stay up as it currently is. Because if you have Fell Infusion, then it says in great big letters across the top of your screen, and it shows you an icon for the Fell Infusion, and it says Fell Infusion, in great big letters. And then if you have the Light Infusion,
can't miss it.
it says Light Infusion right there, giant letters, But when the bomb goes off, that's when the air horn goes off. And when the bomb goes off on you, the air horn goes off, and it gives you a big countdown timer. It shows you how many seconds you have until the bomb's going to explode.
Yep.
Blizzard did a decent job with that, I gotta say. It's one of those mechanics in the game where they actually give you a visual indicator above your character, because there is like a bomb symbol like that shows up above your head that is like a little timer that's gradually ticking down. It's like gradually going away. So that is cool that they included that as well. But I like to have the audible.
Well,
the big text.
The issue with the Blizzard one that I have is we're all stacked up.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
So if the bomb symbol comes up, you don't necessarily know that it's for you.
Right. And
that's it's somebody in the group. One. But that's why I like yours, because that air horn goes off. I know it's me.
Right. Yeah. See, that's why I made that one, because one of the first weeks that we were doing Maiden, a bunch of people had the bomb, or somebody, some people had the bomb in my side, and I was trying to move a little bit left or right to test and see, is that me that has the bomb? Because the symbol will move with me if I move left or right real quick. And whoever it was that had the bomb moved the same way I did. So I was like, oh, it's me that has the bomb. And then I jumped into the middle to my death because I did not have the bomb and it did not blow me back up on the edge. And I'm like, all right, not doing that again. I'm going to make a weak aura.
Yeah, and I apologize for all of our live streamers last weekend because I don't know what it did. We were running around the other side. I got a bomb. I waited, jumped in the hole. It exploded, and I kept falling. So I don't know what that was. I was not a health. Well, I had to have been. So I don't know. I could have swore I was at full health because I wasn't getting hit by anything. I was just running around the other side. But anyway, so I apologize for that for all of our live viewers, which you can see on our YouTube channel, which is in the links and descriptions. But we got to go on to the healing part of Maiden of Vigilance from Tapachino.
So the healing part of Maiden of Vigilance, it's actually a pretty easy healing fight as long as everybody does the mechanics like we've been saying all along. You know, we have to stay in our stack. If we have the bombs, we jump into the pit. When we switch sides, I for one don't go after the little balls. Yep, believe it or not, but I don't go after the little balls. I just stay on that path and meet up at the other end and switch sides when when the infusion goes off. But there's no big heals you have to do unless a bomb does go off and it starts to affect people's health. And at those times, sometimes we can heal through it. So it's not, if everybody goes down, well, that's a different story. But if we just have a few on one side, we can usually heal through it. But other than that, it's a pretty easy fight if the mechanics are done. It's a pretty easy heal fight. Just keep people topped off. I keep my circle down on, depending on which side I'm on. I usually keep it on my side and then include the boss. So I'm grabbing the tanks as well. And that's about it. I mean, just follow the mechanics like everybody else does. Keep people topped off and we got to win. We don't mess up.
Do you have in like Kill Jaden? You guys have a your big healing cooldown rotation. Do you have anything like that, or can you do anything like that, Maiden? Because you don't know what side you're going to be on.
Well, yeah, we really don't have to. I do believe that the healers are split. They don't put like all healers on one side or all on the other, although we can reach each other. So even if they did, it wouldn't be that big a deal, unless of course we all went into the pit at the same time. But we haven't really had to, use our cooling rotation. We can if we need to, but I think, now where we seem to get a good handle on it, on the fight, we haven't really had to do anything like that.
Very cool. Well, I just got a Facebook acknowledgement that JoBui has posted his week aura. So by all means, it's there. I will pin it to the top, like I said, after our podcast is over. So yeah, Maiden of Vigilance. That's it's a pretty decent fight. It's a little, I think I want to say, it's a little, I don't know, hairy to begin with because there are a bunch of mechanics and it happens so fast. I mean, right from the beginning. I do the same thing JoBui does. I start off with my big rotation, so I get the most damage out at the very beginning. But not quite in the middle, but maybe 66% into it, all of a sudden I got to look and see which side I'm on because it's already switching sides. And one of the things I do just to also verify what color I am, even though I have all the audibles and everything's up there, I step off to the side out of the group. That way, if for whatever reason it messes up or, maybe it's faulty, I can actually visually see what color's underneath me because it puts these, like little glowy stuff at your feet. It's either green or white. And I've done that before where even though all my audibles went off, I stepped up to the side and went, oh, I was fell and now I'm light. I'm running to the other side and I run behind the boss. And because you've got 5-6 seconds or whatever it is to get to the other side. But, you got to do it. I mean, that's the one thing that kept killing us time and time again was people not moving, people on the wrong side. And I think it's because they get so focused. Those are those people that don't do the special mechanics all the time. So if you're one of those people and you're in a raid group, stop it. Be one of those people that volunteer for the special mechanics. because
Yep.
it makes you a more well-rounded player. It really helps out the raid group because there's a lot of people that all they want to do is sit there and pew 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 and not pay attention to anything else because they think that's all hunters do. But, you know, I proved that wrong. I die a lot, but I do special mechanics. So anyway, that's been Dancing with the Bosses, Maiden of Vigilance. So thanks for listening to that one. Anybody got anything they want to add before we move on
Don't think so.
to
Nope.
the Maiden? Because the Maiden, we struggled with the Maiden. We have a JoBui alarm that goes off.
Do the damn mechanics.
There it is.
Yeah. That says it all.
But, you know, because this raid group, once they get the bosses down and it's almost kind of a walkthrough, we get very verbal. You know, we're talking as the raid's going on. But when we get into these last 3 bosses, everybody shuts up. Because you have to concentrate these last 3 big time. And there was one weekend we just weren't concentrating at all on the Maiden of Vigilance, and the JoBui alarm went off, and then all of a sudden, bang, next poll, we had it down.
It got
It was a
quiet
great
for
pep
the
talk.
It got quiet for the next 2 bosses, and we got them both in one pull.
Yeah. I think it's that time. I hear the call. Cue the music. It's Lorelei's Pet Battle Minute.
Oh my gosh, so much pet news this week. Week 2 has allowed us to open up the McAree zone, and with that comes more new pets to find. Herbalists and skinners can each find a new pet on Argus. Lucky ducks. And there are 2 reputation pets, one from master fishers, found in each zone throughout the Broken Isle. Much like Margos in Dalaran, you'll need to reach Exalted with each one to purchase toys and pets from them. And I did find out that each of them have a different token, so you can't just fish in one and buy from somebody else. Once you've reached Exalted with the Argusian Reach, you'll be able to purchase another reputation pet. Blizzard usually announces their annual charity pet during BlizzCon, but with the recent hurricanes affecting the U.S., they've released their new pet Shadow early. For a $10 donation, you can adopt this adorable cat, which changes colors and will thrill you with a series of actions. You can also do emote/sit, and Shadow will climb into your lap. All proceeds from the sale will be shared with several Red Cross disaster relief organizations. I love that Blizzard does this. And for those like me who would love to attend BlizzCon but can't get there, one of the many perks from purchasing a virtual ticket this year is an amazing mount. This year's mount is the Stormwind Sky Chaser and its Horde counterpart, the Orgrimmar Interceptor. That's 2 mounts for the price of 1. I love my Sky Chaser. I've been longing for something like this for my little pink-haired gnome. So much more to tell you, but I'll save some more for next week. So get out there and hunt up all the new pets.
And then there's
Getting Deeps with JoBui.
This week's Getting Deeps is brought to you by the Neitherlight Crucible. An easy way to boost your DPS is waiting for you in Argus aboard the Vindicar. All you have to do is complete the quests leading up to and including an Offering of Shadow, and the Neitherlight Crucible will unlock for you. This gives you the ability to quickly boost up your relics through 3 tiers of upgrades. Tier 1 is a simple 5-item level boost to your weapon per relic, and the only requirement to get Tier 1 is having an artifact weapon equipped and the Neitherlight Crucible unlocked. So get this one right away. Keep in mind that once you've unlocked the Neitherlight Crucible for one character, it is unlocked for all your other characters as well. Tier 2 gives a choice between 2 options for each relic. These unlock at rank 60, 63, and 66 of your artifact weapon. Keep in mind that the choice you make here will limit the choices you can make in the 3rd tier with that relic, so choose carefully. The 3rd tier unlocks at artifact ranks 69, 72, and 75. This tier is a choice between various artifact traits. There are 3 choices originally, but once the 2nd tier is chosen, the 3rd tier choices will be limited to just 2. I should note that the Netherlight Crucible and the upgrades to relics is not limited to just DPS. Healers and tanks can benefit greatly as well. So get up to Argus, go through the quests to unlock it, and keep getting deeps with the Netherlight Crucible.
Awesome. And then there's our tank in a dress.
What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress?
Hey, it's a pistol, eh? And I'm up in the mountains fighting grizzly bears. I don't know why he went southern all of a sudden.
I know. Southern Canadians.
Yeah, southern Canadians. Those southern Canadians, I tell you.
So you take the boss and you turn him this way, and then you do the thing, and then you do this other thing, and your mitigation. And that's Tanking Minute.
Taunt, 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 taunt.
Oh, Pistol, you're never gonna leave. You're never gonna not be here ever again.
And heal myself because the healers ignore me.
Uh-oh.
Wow. And that's
Don't
been a
forget about your
Tanking Minute.
heals.
Oh, and on to
I need a healer. I'm holding up for a healer till the end of the run. They gotta be skilled and they gotta be calm and they gotta be second to none. I need a healer.
This is Tapachino with your tap into the healing minute. With the 7.3 patch out now, I thought I would talk a bit about questing as a healer in Legion. We all have off-spec DPS that we can use to quest and to level for that matter, but if you're like me, sometimes you forget that you're in your off-spec and spend those precious artifact power points on your DPS weapon instead of on your healing weapon. Fortunately, with the Legion expansion, Blizzard made it much easier for healers to quest and level in our healing spec by giving us some DPS spells to use. It may take a bit longer to get the mobs or boss down, but at least you live through it. There's also a little trick I use when I'm out and about, especially in Argus, where there are many, many mobs and they seem to spawn very, very fast. I'll be out there in a world quest area, and if there's others about doing the same thing, I'll put a healing circle down around them so they know, hey, I'm a healer, let's pull. So don't let being a healer stop you from questing. We are more versatile than you think. And that is today's Tap into the Healing Minute.
awesome. All right, it's WFN News, Warcraft Fafford News. Neither Disruptor is up next on the Broken Shores. It has the Epic Hunter and Reinforced Rains. So grab that Tuesday so you got those Reinforced Rains. The weekly quest is, yay, Time Walking, Mists of Pandaria.
Ooh, yay.
Ooh.
Yeah. Wow. Literally, WoW tokens are 163. That's 13,000 more than last week.
Oh my gosh.
Oops. Yeah, should have bought those tokens last week when they're at 150. And yo ho, it's a pirate's life for me. Pirates Day is 10 a.m. on Tuesday to 10 a.m. on Wednesday this week. Don't forget, visit a henchman in your nearest capital city if it's a pirate's life for you. Arr. So a cool thing we're going to do this Friday is we're going to live stream. Every one of us in the crew is going to be a pirate. So go watch it. We'll post the link on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Lions Pride Tavern, where you can go watch the live stream. All right, so we start at 6:45 Mountain Time and 8:45 Eastern Time. We usually start the stream at 8:30 and 6:30 respectively, but it's 15 minutes of us talking about how the week's gone and, you know, who's been riding bikes and, you know, what kind of good recipes we have.
We're
to eat.
streaming at that time? I didn't know
Yeah,
we were
and
streaming
we're
at that time.
usually talking about our beverage of choice right
Oh,
about then. So,
yeah.
yeah, everybody can
I will have to
tune
make
in and
one
find out
this
what we're
Friday
making.
since we'll be piratey.
Yeah, we got to have a
Although
piratey drink.
I really have to put in a complaint to Blizzard. You don't make much in the way of pirate wear for platewares.
I don't even know where to get pirate
So
wear.
I'm going to have to probably wear my little slutty dungeon crawling outfit with an eye patch, and that's going to be about the best I can do.
Well, they're
I don't
pirate
have
winches.
anything.
They're pirate winches.
Well, she's going to be winchy looking, that's for sure.
It's a
You
little
know,
peak hairdo.
Honestly,
But no,
there's
it's talking about hot pants and thigh-high boots.
there's just a distinct lack of really good pirate wear for, I think, most of the different
I
groups.
don't
actually.
even know what I'm gonna wear.
Oh,
I don't have
Cloth
any
has
pirate
a
wear.
lot of good pirates.
Yeah.
Well, I
Cloth
got a
does.
good hat. I got a really good hat, but
I have 3 different eye patches.
They
That's
got
about
Well-
it.
flouncy blouses and
yeah.
Everybody
crazy
should have a
pirate
hat
boots.
if you went through the last expansion, because they gave you all the captain's hats and the admiral hats and all that. So.
Oh yeah, we got the hats.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Oh,
those
yeah.
as pirate hats though.
But
I've got an
can you
actual pirate hat.
transmog your headwear into those?
Not if it's cloth, no.
Yeah, see, I don't. So if you're gonna wear it, you're gonna lose your headgear. So you got to have something
Yeah.
that you got to be able to transmog.
No, you can wear the
Yeah,
like
you
the
can-
fleet
you can wear the
commander's hat.
admiral
Yeah,
hat,
you can
yeah.
transmog.
But
You
you
can
can't- you
transmog.
can't
You
those.
do
can. All right.
anything
Yeah,
else.
I thought you could, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, there's
So-
two. There's the captain's hat and the fleet commander's hat that
Yeah.
both can be transmogged.
So
That,
we'll
but
be okay. We were pirates and we robbed it from the ship.
But I've
Yeah.
yeah.
Of
but
course.
I've got the eye patch. It's probably.
The eye patch is good.
But that's
yeah,
about all I've got.
the cloth also has the first mate hat that can be gotten,
Yep.
which is an actual pirate hat with like skull and crossbones on it.
Yep. So we'll see what kind of pirate outfits we come up with. Just for you guys, Donna Bell posted a link on the guild page of some piratey transmogs and where to get them. So.
Oh, did she? I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, yeah. So that's going to wrap it up for this week, guys. I want to thank Charm for all of our beautiful music on our podcast. She's awesome. She's British. And I want. She is. And we got to throw in BenSound with BenSound.com because he did Joe Bowie's minute. So. All the links for BenSound and Charm and everything else is posted in the links and description below, or it's posted in the description below. The links are posted in the description below. But hey, we got to wrap this up because I am done talking.
He started Brewfest way too early, which begins on Thursday, by the way.
Oh, I didn't see that. I looked at the calendar. I
Ah.
didn't see it. I
There's
saw
all
the
kinds
pirate.
of good things.
Oh, Brewfest. We started
Brewfest
tonight.
this week, and I don't remember what the Harvest Festival is. That where we go into the horde thing and put out the Burning Man or something like that?
No,
I thought that was
that's,
no.
The Harvest Fest is when we can go and I think that's the one where we can sit around the table and
That's
like get a
Pilgrim's
buff.
Bounty.
Oh, is that the bounty?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
And that's at Thanksgiving.
That's Pilgrims.
Hmm.
That's November. Yep. But I'm like,
So-
I'm gonna have to go look up what this. I can't remember the Harvest Festival for anything.
I didn't think they'd have that many in a week. So I'm excited about Pirates Day myself. So, because
But I have nothing to wear.
it's always good to be a pirate. Just something slutty.
Oh, that I can do.
Well, see, there you go, pirates. I mean, have you ever watched that that one show that came out in the '80s about the female pirate? It was terrible. It was a terrible pirate show. But she was like a supermodel, and that's the only reason I watched it. Because she wore the pirate outfit. Yeah, bad movie. All right, so thanks everybody for coming. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see y'all next week.
Good
See
night,
ya.
everyone.
Thanks, folks.
I kissed a narc and I liked it. The taste of his vocal chapstick. I kissed a narc just to try it. I hope my ally friends don't mind it. It felt so wrong, it felt so right. Don't meet up in love tonight.
If you like this podcast, throw us a like and subscribe to our channel. And please, leave comments or questions below. Maybe we'll answer them on the air next podcast. We are hosted on Podomatic.com. Our website is Lionspridetavern.podomatic.com. Our podcast also airs on iTunes for Apple users, Google Play for Androids, and YouTube. Just search World of Warcraft Lions Pride Tavern podcast. See you next week, and thanks for listening.